And we are live. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the Doctor of Stuff channel. I am your host, Doctor of Stuff. With me, I have the legendary co-host, Crypto Rain. I am so excited, Rain, to have you on here. And just before we get started, right, we are still waiting for David. He has yet to join below here. So before we get started, I want to say why this is such an awesome moment for me personally to be able to interview David. So Rain, and why I have Rain on here as my co-host is Rain actually was the first person to introduce me to VeVe. Rain, do you want to kind of give them a little outline of how you introduced me in the conversation we had?
Yeah, thank you so much for setting this up. And I really appreciate you being generous and inviting me on to be with David Yu, who's just a legend with what he's accomplished with Acomi and VeVe, and a project I've been interested in and actually invested in 2018, but kind of forgot about him during the bear market, which, I feel a little bit dumb about. But in March of 2021, one of my subscribers of my new YouTube channel was new. I had like 1,000 subscribers, asked me to look at the OMI token. I looked at OMI. I was like, OMI, I know that name. Oh, Acomi. Okay. And then I was doing some research on it. I found this VeVe app, and I found this I didn't know how to pronounce it then. I called it VeVe because I couldn't find any YouTube videos on it. And they had the first Batman on the blockchain. I was like, this is a really big deal. Now, I had tried to get Dr. Stuff interested in crypto during the bear market, and he had invested a little bit, and I think some misconceptions about crypto, which is often what happens. And he was completely uninterested. But I took to him the case of, the first Batman on the blockchain, and look at this app, and you can buy it right through the app, and you can do a 3D rendering of it, and you can actually put it in augmented reality, and showed it to him. And I think that was like a light bulb moment for you of like, holy cow. Why don't you take it from there?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was just kind of like, I had seen NBA Top Shots, and the LeBron James moment had sold for like $250K, and it just made sense. The first Batman on the blockchain. So yep, I purchased several Todd McFarlane's, right, and just went from there. So hey, without further ado, I'm super excited to introduce you a man who really needs no introduction. Somehow his hair has never had a bad hair day. The CEO of VeVe and Acomi, Mr. David Yu. Welcome. How are you?
Well, thanks. You guys can hear me quite clear?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, thanks for having me on your show. Pleased to meet you, Crypto Rain. Yeah.
David, the pleasure is all ours. Honestly, like one of the things I have in the background here, I was able to meet you at Decon and have you and David. And you can't see it very well, but it's you and Dan. O'Milly Tees had created that T-shirt, and to get you to sign that and things. But we were just talking before we brought you on about when I first came on to VeVe and how awesome this moment is to be able now to have you on my channel and just talk about VeVe and where it's going and what's happened so far. So if you're okay, like I'm down to just jump right into things.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, sounds good. So the first thing I wanted to congratulate you. Obviously, New York ComicCon, VeVe had a massive month there with all of the drops and those announcements and collaborations. And I wanted to shout out VeVe Fox. She's a VeVe YouTuber, and she kind of does data analytics, and it showed some of the active wallets or the new wallets and new users who came on, who were onboarded from New York ComicCon and the activity that was there. And it's very impressive during the bear market that VeVe is still able to bring on new users, right? And that people are excited to experience VeVe and the platform. So I had some questions related to New York ComicCon. Out of all those collaborations that you guys announced, right? You had the Addiction Comics one, the Funko Marvel digital collaboration, and then also the Marvel VeVe physical variant cover. Out of those, like, what was the most difficult to put together, and how long was that process?
Yeah. Well, you kind of missed one more. There was the Christian Louboutin, the
Oh my,
shoe
yeah,
era.
that's a massive one. Yeah, sorry. Thank you for correcting me on that. Right? Yes, including that one, which I love to see that fashion brand, like a very high profile fashion brand.
Mm. Yeah. So just go back to your question. Which one is hard to put together? Well, they are all extremely difficult when you have multiple license brand partners involved. It does take a long time. Obviously, the Funko, who's amazing, was amazing collab. The physical component takes a lot of time to manufacture, as you know. There's a logistic supply chain behind it, and getting signed off. And one of the major parts in VeVe is that we wanted to understand the importance of collecting, and how in the bear market, like you had mentioned, how do we attract more users? How do we onboard them? We're like any other company. We go out there and we try to fish new audience. So major fashion house is always a key part. We have seen a lot of the fashion house out there uh, promoting their own digital collectible NFT releases. So we want a little bit of that to see, and one of the key importance of that is a new demographic, the female audience. Um, Comic-Con, what we wanted to do a little bit different is this year we wanted to bring out the shadow stylus X-Men releases. So a different color example of how we could be doing that shadowing artwork style of artwork. And then also most important is how do we bridge that physical component into digital? How do we bring more of those audience into VeVe by converting them? Um, Many of you will know in Comic Con you are constantly lining up endless line to get into different halls or different autograph or different places to purchase merchandise. We want that feel in VeVe as well. As you know, VeVe is a digital app. You stand there pretty much in the click of a button, you purchase. You don't have to line up. We want the audience to feel that they are lining up for something. That physical common component fulfill that. And also it was a key. I will say in our company history, it will be going down as our first physical. The other element and other parts of the business is really how we celebrate new emerging artists. So the addiction comic was a new way to see if VeVe can reach out to new audience and help brands and new artists and writers to promote something that's not already a major brand out there. And not saying the addiction team is new. They are very seasoned writers. The artists behind it, the writers behind it have done a lot of other products, including they have worked on previous Marvel products. And even my close friend Vincent, he is a very renowned, known comic dealer, auction house in New York. So it's very high end. And with his power and his influence to bring in more audience to VeVe was a key part. So there was a lot of moving parts to ensure that we try to reach out as far as we can, and that's what the purpose of that Comic-Con New York this year, to execute, to broaden our reach everywhere we can.
Yeah, well, that it was really exciting just to see all of those collaborations announced, and I have a kind of a follow up question about one of those collaborations, that Funko that I have right here, right? I was trying to chase that secret rare number one. I got 3 commons, but they're awesome, and I'm excited. Like I've got the other 2 here that I'm just preserving. I think that it's just a piece of VeVe history that I'm really looking forward to potentially handing down to the kids at some point. You know, I think that I just see VeVe as a very long-term project, and it's going to be around for a super long time. I'm excited for that. So with this you've shown that you can sell out phygital drops, right, with Funko, and that was a big thing. The fact that this Funko Gold, to my knowledge, they haven't sold out any of their Funko Gold products before, and to have this big 18-inch one, and you saw some Funko channels, YouTube channels, that all they do is talk about Funko, and they're like, this isn't going to sell out, no one's going to want this. And then, you know, the VeVe fam came in strong, but just a lot of people came in and bought that. So my question is, we've seen these physical collaborations now, and one of the things they've grown on me. At first, I was kind of like, I don't know how I feel about these Marvel Mighties, but I've really enjoyed collecting them now and really like that. And I'm wondering, could we see down the line a potential Funko VeVe Marvel collaboration with a phygital Marvel Mighties?
Yeah, the Marvel Mighty was in a way created in VeVe for the purpose of so we can have a price differentiation. You guys will know that the Mighties retails for a lower pricing level, and the idea is to reach in that easy collecting, get your first collectible that's quite cute, and we use that in the New York ComicCon. We had the Mighties, I think maybe in 1:8 scale or 1:6 scale, in our stand where people can have photo ops. We are constantly seeing what else we could do with it. The Funko style of their collectible in the pop is very cheapy, very stylish in the way that they bring out the traditional. And obviously that's why we had to bring Tony Stark into the 18-inch, the larger format, to get that feel, that quality, the boxing, the whole thing. We have tried other products in the Mighties, and even during this Comic-Con, we were giving away a redemption card with a comic cover that was a Mighties character collab into that. So some of you may not know, we were giving them out to new sign up for new account. That must be to be the condition to get one of these redemption card for the comic, and it was a Mighties cover artwork. And so that's one of the first thing that we have bridge outside the Mighty collectible as it is. But I will never say no. We are constantly in dialogue with our licensors to seek new opportunities. And I do see a lot of users out there, they do love the Mighty. So it's certainly something that we'll take into that account.
Yeah, so just real quick, because I was thinking, I was like, I don't remember seeing that, but yeah, I'd forgotten that there was a Marvel Mighties cover there, and that's the Fantastic Four that's been dropped there. So that's how those new users got that. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. We wanted to do so. I mean, new users come up to our stand, they see the beautiful Spider-Man, and I think we had the Thor there this year in New York. They take a beautiful AR image of it. We get them sign up. They redeem one of the characters that they took photo with, which is a Mighty comic. So I think it's a good reward for them to come in. And we constantly tried new ways to bring in collectors into digital.
Did the audio cut off? It sounded like cut off for a second.
No, I can. I think you're good.
I had a question for you, David, along those lines. What's been interesting to me is watching this all unfold since I first, heard you in 2018 with Dan making the pitch for what you wanted to do with the Comey and this digital collectibles idea. I had never collected a physical comic in my whole life until I got interested in VeVe and started buying digital comics. Then I've actually bought some physical comics. And it's interesting how a lot of, physical collectors, I think a lot of them haven't come on board with the digital side, but they will. But what's also interesting to me is I know a whole bunch of people that never had a physical collectible before that got interested in VeVe and now buying physical collectibles. is there a possibility of doing like a digital drop now that some logistics are worked out and you've kind of trialed it, but maybe doing a physical drop where someone buys the digital version first and then gets shipped the physical? Or would the shipping logistics make it too difficult? Or maybe you'd have to geo-restrict it to certain countries because certain countries are easier to ship to than others.
Great question. For me, from my side, I'm always trying to be more innovative, and that's one of the things I'm seeking partnership and collabs with companies out there who is already doing fulfillment, shipping, and then we provide that digital element, and then somehow that physical get redeemed and shipped to them. So it is something I have been working on, and hopefully in 2024 we'll be announcing some of these initiatives that we've been working on.
Yeah, that's really exciting. Congrats on the Funko partnership and drop. Like Funko has just nailed it out of the park with something people love to have and collect. And then the collab, I just feel like that was an amazing success and probably so much logistics to get done. And went really smooth.
Yeah, and it's really great to see all the box opening videos that you have seen them online. It's just really exciting to open something that every single one of them you have a chance to redeem for a unique number on VeVe. These mint numbers for the first time, we have let it all out. So it's really, really good to see that. And yeah, my aim is to bring out more fun stuff like this to get fans. One of our major purpose, what we're trying to do is to connect collectors around the world together who has a common interest in collecting. And we always thought the user generator content, the videos, the photos that you guys take with beloved AR characters will bring that element into it, and it will inspire and open conversations, and it will lead to other parts of, like you say, you never physically bought a comic, but now you love having it. You guys have, your background, your home, you now have a beautiful display of collectibles. And it's amazing to see that VeVe can bring that into you and into your home, something new in collecting. And I really also believe that during the COVID period, a lot of younger audience of ours, and our parents are bringing out things that they found stashed away, and whether that's all basketball cards or stamps, phone cards, or what have you not, to pick up that connection from there. And yeah, it's very, very happy to see that.
What about an idea, and maybe you've thought of this and it isn't viable, but it would be fun. What about something that's already been released, maybe like the Ghost Spider, and you're able to purchase a physical version of the digital one that you own and get like the same mint number? So, I mean, that's just an example of Marvel Mighty Ghost Spider, and say you own mint number 41 on the digital, and you could then get the 41 physical.
Yeah, that one might be a little bit more challenging in logistic wise, I guess, because every single one needs to be numbered. Someone in the warehouse will need to go pick it up and ship it out the right way. Our biggest challenge here is that VeVe does run a marketplace as well, so it's quite often these collectibles do change hand, and ensuring that you're not redeeming number one twice, or redeem it and then on sell it. The Funko 18-inch gold, it's in a way the first item that we're seeing how it goes with eBay. Many of you probably have seen the physical selling at eBay for last I checked, some of them are going as high as $350 to $700, and and some of them are selling without the redemption code on its own right. So it is quite interesting to see how that market eventually will continue to evolve. And we definitely do see that digital market. It's going to be a new wave. I think digital collecting is already setting its train. As long as we add more utility value, what people else can do with it, and then that physical element is really just to bring new icing to the cake, that we are offering something that's more unique. Most people, including myself, when I purchase a Funko Pop figure, it is very often I don't even crack open the box. And a lot of the collectors out there, even the box, when they go to a retail shop, they see the box have a little crease corner or even a nail mark on it. They pass on to that. They pick up the next one in the back. So the collectability of an open product is setting new trend. And what VeVe allows you to do is to have that experience to own that digital clone, to show it off, to bring it out in your palm of hand. What would be interesting for me, and I'm not saying it's going to happen sooner, now or when, so don't speculate. It's not some advice, don't hold me to it, is that it will be amazing and wonderful if VeVe one day will be offering blind boxes where technically that collectible is signed to you, but you don't know until you open it. So you have unopened blind box in your collection. That could be something interesting when we figured out how that technology will roll out. I have seen other projects out there have that unboxing experience, and if they keep the items unboxed, it's sealed. But in a way, we want to make sure that the one that you haven't opened, because with trading cards, they are physically in the box, right? So when you haven't opened it, and this is when you open it, you're going to get certain things in it. We just want to make sure that that experience is co-aligned, that you don't lose that secret rare. Maybe you have that unopened box, and someone, when you pass it on, someone will have that opportunity to pull something great out of that. So I still need to work through that.
I would love that. I bought some of the CryptoWaste things, and I've kept a lot of my things in packages. And that would be fun to be able to buy a blind box of something, and it's just still in that box, and I have no idea. And I know that you'd have to, because people are blockchain sleuths, and they would try to track it on the wallet and say, oh, this collectible went here. So I understand that technology of try to how to mask that until it's opened or something, that needs to be developed for sure.
Yeah. And one of the parts is that, as you guys know, how VeVe operates is that when you purchase something, then it randomly select a mint number for you. So I guess there's a pros and cons. If you don't open it and all the secret rares are gone, then it makes that box, I'm going to only get common, so you flip it low price. So we just need to figure out how that element will work. Yeah, it will happen.
Yeah, well, that's interesting. I like that idea, and hopefully that can be ferreted out and worked out. But I like this comment that SoCal, it said gold and silver logo holders would love to test that out once you figure it out. And as a gold and silver logo holder myself, I had to bring that up. But
yeah.
So I wanted to touch base real quick on this actually. So you had the let me try to get this so people can see the screen. Okay, right. So this is the Marvel and VeVe variant here. And where's my VeVe thing? Well, but anyway, so with that, can you tell me a little bit about the significance of actually having like a Marvel comic that's a VeVe variant? What that means for VeVe and going forward, can we expect to see more physical comic variants, VeVe physical comic variants in the future?
Yeah. So how should I start? Many of you will know I have been in the collectible business all my life, and yeah, even as of today, to get any comic variant, well, number one is you need to print a lot. It's not like they're going to print you 5 copies of it and just sell it to your friends and mates. You need to be ordering significant amount. That's number one. And what you had there is a variant cover to the Return of Spider-Man. There was a Virgin variant without the title treatment on it. To even get that is like 1 in 50 copies you have to order. And sometime in the comic retail store, it might be 1 in 100 or 200. So that means that cover variant that you have got in the Virgin cover, um, as a retailer, you might have to buy 100 normal comics to really get one piece of that. The important part for VeVe is, well, on many level, from self-achievement wise, is that it has been my dream to have my own exclusive cover. And that's in any retailers in the comic business, is that to have their own comic cover. The hurdle around that is to find an artist that will and are willing to draw a cover for you, and the publisher, in this case Marvel, and the distributor, the Penguin Random House, they are willing to bring this cover out for us. And the other part is, you ask, is are we going to see more? And short as hell, yes, we have to do more. I mean, we kind of want to set a train in collecting VeVe, and for and we're going to go beyond that. I mean, over the past weeks, I have seen a lot of people got their comic books graded with CGC. So we have been working with companies like CGC, who's the expert in grading comic books, to give the VeVe comic a stamp of approval to grade our comic as it should, and to give our fans a special label on it. And there's something. It's probably the next achievement I'm trying to do, and we hope to see something like that will be coming out soon. That's all I can say.
Yes.
I have a follow-up question to that. Love that idea. And what about the future of VeVe-specific intellectual property? We love what VeVe's done with the logos and the utility for the gold and silver logo. Any future plans with more VeVe-specific creations? Because I'm liking those a lot.
Yeah, the beauty around the VeVe IP itself, and a lot of you would know the gold and silver logo holders. And just to set the context right, we created the gold and silver logo without knowing the gold and silver logo will be where it is today with the community. It will be the significant value. I'm not talking really about the monetary value, the value out of that feedback we got from you guys for us to continue to roll out exciting new things to go with it. And the VeVe Gold and Silver logo is a way for us to control our narrative, and because it's our branding, and just so everyone know that the Gold and Silver logo was given away. We don't sell them. We don't sell them as a collectible. The idea is to see and to track the users, to build that community, to build that group. So we understand the significance and the power behind our own brand, and the agile what we could do with it, and the element that we can put in, reinvest in our energy, the money we make in the secondary market, we can pour that money back in to ensure that program continues forever. And it is something that we showing to our licensors and demonstrate to them is something that we could continue to do. And I already know a lot of other brands out there and partners out there, or you will say competitors out there in the industry, are doing similar things. So it is a way for us to roll these program out. But in regards to, are we going to do more? Are we going to be bringing something else that is significant? We'll certainly review that. As VeVe grows, the 500 gold and silver logo will never be satisfactory for new collectors coming in. Imagine when we get to 1 million users, it's very likely we will need to roll out some other additional collectible, so we can include these new fan base in as part of it. So there's a lot of talks in my own mind and with Dan, what else we could do in the near future. And IP creation, we kind of didn't, when we envision the business, how we want to see further down the road, we kind of want these premium IP and the artists to be the creators, and where VeVe is a platform where all these assets live in. What I guess the question is, do we want to start competing with our own licensors and IP owners? And we kind of, it's not really our forte or desire to do that, because we want the platform to welcome more, rather than people go, well, that's your own IP, so I don't want to compete with you. So the gold and silver logo fits very good on its unique right, because it is just a logo. And the other thing, what VeVe has started to do is Tengoku, the game that we have put a lot of the shorts out. And the other day, I was very lucky to see the voiceover for Tengoku, and it's amazing. So now we are backing gaming studios, and we're backing other powerhouses. Maybe some of these could be part of the VeVe original, or the first appearance of them come to VeVeVerse. So these are the things that we are looking more closely, how we can secure more first editions and first appearance of these characters. And that will be the main day for me.
Makes sense that you don't want to compete with all the artists coming on. I was thinking kind of like the logo in your background. Maybe some of them want to do a collab. Maybe they have a statue that they want a 3D rendering, a digital collectible that they want like VeVe in there with it, which would be fun. And it would, especially for brands that are lower names and people might not know them, but they're trying to grow, it would give them further credibility without competing with them. It might be something you could offer and be like, hey, do you want us to put the logo in? It could be in a fun way, and maybe that's too far out there and not even something to worry about. But it is interesting the amount of bond that the community has with VeVe itself and how strong that's become.
Yeah. And that's one of the reasons why the Addiction comic cover had a pizza box with the VeVe logo on it. The idea is how, in a way, it's not even making a cameo on a comic cover, but really to put our voice and put our community behind the writer and the artist, to have that special piece. But certainly, the collabs, I really like it. You can almost envision one day a collectible will be wearing maybe a VeVe logo T-shirt on an IP or something. That's definitely a possibility. So I'll do more thinking around that.
That would be fun.
Love it. Love to hear that. So I'm going to switch gears a little bit. In previous videos, like you've talked, it was earlier this year where you talked about launching two additional verticals this year. One of them, I'm assuming, is the phygital vertical. And you can correct me if I'm wrong there, but so are we still going to get another vertical this year? I know that in the past you've also talked about sports and music. So can you give us any hints on as to what's coming?
Well, the other vertical that we bringing out, obviously with VeVe, we have multiple things always in the work. So I don't want you guys to think that we are not working on certain things if something comes out or what we talked about hasn't arrived. So they're demanding this to happen now. Moving on, we just want to make sure the products is a lot more robust. I mean, we now have experience working with large studios. In one studio, I had the phone call with My Morning, which is like their whatever time zone they were. That this gaming studio, they told me they will never bring out a game. It's constantly always had delays on it. And it's because they just cannot avoid to bring out a product that is not good enough to the audience. So VeVe has actually taken me as an entrepreneur new journeys to learn, how to make a product more perfect and the perfection of around that. And luckily, we have that time and luxury to do it. And I do understand our fans and audience want everything to happen now, because in the digital world and the crypto, everything's evolving every 6 weeks, 8 weeks. Things are changing constantly fast. For us, the vertical that I talked about is all part of the journey. If I was to bring everything all out at once, you will not have a great experience. The reason why the physical comics, we're still talking about the Funko 18-inch, the box opening and all these, is because we put a great program together and we emphasize and we magnify that portion of it. Coming out, I do believe that the VeVeVerse will make more beta users will be coming in the coming weeks. And ideally now is how we, I talked earlier about mass adoptions, more utility value out of it. What do you do with the collectible that you're already on? You want them to bring into that VeVeVerse, that home of yours, to really open it up. So these are the areas that we are starting to loosen up to get more users involved. And music verticals, you may see some announcement and maybe during the holiday season, we might release our first music collectible artist or what have you not, as an announcing on Q4. For us, it's all about finding the timing and not overshadowing our existing program, because I have noticed during the ComicCon week, there was just so much happening, as you know. And it was just one bigger than the other, and we kind of don't want to overshadow their own releases and their marketing plan to come out. So moving on, the campaigns and how we roll things out will be just much better. So it's not so chaos, even though I love chaos.
So apparently we've got Mariah Carey confirmed then. That's what's happening for Christmas. All I want for Christmas is David Yu. Is that what it is?
It's too soon. It's November.
You know what? People start like November 1st. It starts rolling out in stores. It drives me nuts there. But look, I appreciate that. And that's exciting to see. Obviously, VeVe, you guys continue to look into the future as to more things that you can bring in and how you can bring in additional, really make VeVe mainstream, right? By bridging that gap to the physical collectors and educating them more on the digital side of things, and these different verticals help do that. And it was awesome to see all those announcements there. There's a couple of things I just wanted to talk about. People keep asking about the VeVeVerse. It's Will Mai and Mr. V did an awesome interview with Dan Crothers. They've done that on the VeVe Vantage podcast, which is an audio form, but they're actually releasing the YouTube video of it at 10 p.m. Eastern, and they're also releasing some exclusive footage on the VeVeVerse. So listen to that. I think that's going to answer a lot of your questions. there's some other questions too, David, real quick, just about Decon. I know that you guys have talked about like that VeVe's not going to be able to make it to Decon, but they're going to France. And people were wondering if there's when you're going to put out a timeline. People are kind of trying to plan when to go out there. Is there a timeline on when you're going to push out what's happening in the events and what VeVe's going to be doing?
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. We just found the number one is I love Decon. You know, I'm a veteran patron there myself as a collector. I do go out there. I just felt the timing with the New York and the holiday season in December could be a bit too tight. I get hit up maybe hundreds of European fans email or link in me or whatever, spam me, and our communication manager do the messages that the European fans are not getting the love that the North Americans are. And you know, number one is it's not true. That's not what we intended to do. We just wanted to make sure that we focus in areas that we have the most resource on. So for the first time, we actually, not the first time, we did UK once, but for the first time, we're going to France. I do believe that there is a crypto event, and that's part of the reason why I was very up or didn't get much sleep overnight, is to organize the events, what's coming out. I do believe the event's going to be taking place around the 25th of January, 24. It is the south of France. I do believe it's maybe couple hours out of Paris. It is they do have an amazing lineup of speakers and attendee, you know, professions who will be attending. We kind of wanted to showcase VeVe to these crypto users because, as you know, and many of us know, that it's very easy when you get one of these whales and you convert them into a collector. They love collecting, and they once they get one, they feel like they need to get them all. So we want to showcase our best company forefront in these shows. At the same time, why is it taking a bit longer? It is an area where we don't have a lot of resource. So going into the French market will be a little bit more challenging. Furthermore, is that we are talking and liaising with our partners, sponsors, and we want to go into the space with at least a couple big brand banners with us, like what we do in New York and ComicCon and Decon. We want some heavyweights behind us. You know, that's always an eye opener, and our fans love that. So we'll continue to do that. Announcing the full lineup, I'm hoping maybe around mid-December. We do now. I'm coming towards understanding how it's going to shape together. I'll be more confident to come out with something that's good.
Awesome. I just know that obviously you've got a rabid fan base and people are trying to make plans and they're like, Black Friday's coming up. Maybe I can book flights or hotels during that time. So I appreciate that information there.
Thank you. It is going to happen. Yeah, I need to book our own flights as well. So we're looking forward to catch up with a lot of the European. And, you know, with New York, I was very surprised how much European fans travel over to support us. And I already know they are fans who is outside France will be attending this. I have fans from Amsterdam already messaging me, or obviously from Spain and other regions around there. I do believe there's few Canadians are flying to see us here, so looking forward to that.
I wanted to ask you a question, David, on Disney. Now, Disney has announced utility, or to date, Disney hasn't announced any utility for its collectibles in advance. We've seen other intellectual property, especially independent artists, do surprise utility for their holders, such as surprise airdrops, using an unannounced snapshot for holders of a certain set. Do you ever see Disney doing retroactive utility?
How shall I answer this question the best way? I will never say no. That is the thing. It's just that a lot of the brand studio that we work with, and it's not just Disney. This is every brand and studio. They are just more worried and aware the regulatory environment. And in regards to the artists, it's something that I push much harder with the artists to be more engaged, because the artists are building a brand themselves and building that audience. I wanted to make sure that the artists, and from day one, I just want you guys to understand is that the community is important to our artists, and our artists rely on the community. And for us to build fan base for our artists has always been the number one. And I wanted to make sure that every artist are welcome and loved with our community, so more artists will come on. And just to clarify, with the artists, we are adding more and more artists on. We just wanted to make sure that the narrative in the art communities that at the very early stage, you probably know when the NFT was the buzzword, a lot of these artists, when they announce a project, they get a lot of negative feedback. That stigma, when we are hoping over a period of time, it will go away. And the stigma back then is this either could be a scam or this is bad for the environment. Our job is to educate. And this is why VeVe with the mobile app, so easy for you to create an account and set up your own profile and start collecting. And we, by using this form of method onboarding, we also allow artists to reach out to their audience much easier. So going back, artists is very, very important. Without these artists, the comic book that you love, the superhero, they will never exist, because they evolve from something. They become an artist, and then they eventually love superhero. They go to one of these studio, become an artist to do these covers or artwork, or be the creator behind something greater in that universe. So most important is artists are being supported. We're communicating the artists with our community showing our artists love. We bring more artists on. They all have great feedback. They feel welcome. They feel comfortable in the space, and then they do more releases with us.
So it's been a lot easier for the smaller artists then to introduce some kind of utility as a way of engagement. But from the bigger brands, they've been much more cautious. Like Disney and Marvel so far probably have been resistant to doing a real life utility for holding one of the collectibles.
Yeah, at the moment, and I guess also we need to find the appropriate forum to do this as well. And when I talk about appropriate, I'm more talking about it needs to be something that's meaningful. It's not just a one-off. When we run programs, many of you have seen Ron. A lot of these artists, I can pick up a phone call and I can directly get to their agent themselves, their creative team, and something can be drawn up within weeks, and then we can get down to the creation of it. And we're very respectful with the bigger studio, because they have legal channels that we have to go through, marketing, approval process. It does take a lot longer. For us, we always try to see who is the most easy fit with what program we're running. And that's why you see a lot more artist things. And yeah, we do announce some of these studio redemption or reward, because we see them as a reward, where Ron is really just giving you another collectible of his because he loves you. same as Gary or whoever is doing a free drop or crafting. And moving on, we'll utilize the new system, the crafting, a lot more as well.
Yeah, that's exciting that you have that functionality down with the soul stones and the gauntlet. That was a lot of fun, that whole process.
Yeah. And just so you know, the tech team had built a lot more robust and optional functions for us to do different ways of promoting crafting. And so I'm looking forward to unique ways to craft and redeem.
That's awesome. So speaking of utility, and Disney has announced this utility. A lot of people have been asking about this artist desk. Can you give us an idea on when we're going to hear more about that?
Yeah. The truth is, I haven't been following too much, but I do understand that at the end of the program, around December period Q4, I do believe that you can craft with the pencils that you have for that beautiful desk, and possibly, um, you may need to redeem the pencil. I think that the pencil does get burned. That's how I believe. So just keep that in mind, and we'll love to see how many table the artist does get redeemed. I have seen on Twitter someone made one with all the collectible that we have, which is pretty clever.
Okay, so no timeline yet, no news on announcement as to when that's going to happen. But I actually have multiple sets of those pencils. I'm definitely looking forward to crafting those desks. I've caught like low digit mints that I'll just keep for the pencils, but then I also have some to craft some of those desks. So looking forward to that. But
yeah, our marketing team will be rolling it out, and it's not really appropriate for me to step in into any channel to announce something happened. We find the best forum through our marketing and through the social, so everyone gets equal rights to participate. But I haven't really checked what the pencil price is going for in the secondary.
Yeah.
If any of them are for sale as well, so I might look it up.
Yeah, I think they're relatively like on the cheaper end. I think like $17-$16. So like that's why I stacking some, because I'm excited. And it's for me, when I look at, like, I obviously do analysis on MCP points and the price there, and so even for me, I think that's a pretty good price point just to keep the SRs of the different ones. But so we actually have I know that it had been talked about long ago, and is more of like a hypothetical situation of potentially, being able to burn, whether it was like comics or different rarities of comics or different collectibles, to potentially get some, whether it was prototypes like a VeVe IP or prototypes of different, Disney or Marvel IP. Can you tell us anything about that, or is that still potentially on the roadmap?
Yeah, that's basically Q4 for me to start working on the prices. We're talking about, what people want. We want to make sure that we bring out items that people will want to redeem. I just need to make sure that we do look after the master collector, the program. When you get the master points, the OUP now all combined in one, that redemption award, it's the priority on that. So it's very likely we will redeem for certain things that's special with your points that you're in, that you purchase.
As opposed to burning collectibles and getting that as well.
Yeah, the burning collectibles, it's definitely on the roadmap. It just won't roll out as fast because it's a lot of things behind it we need to test.
Okay, well, that's exciting. So I'm going to dive into one that I've been wanting to know the answer to for a while. So Recur, not too long ago, they announced that they were shutting their doors for good, and they gave all of their customers a window to withdraw their NFTs, right, to their own non-custodial wallet. And since the images for Recur NFTs are on IPFS or the Interplanetary File System, those images are going to stay tied to the NFTs even after Recur stops paying for the service in which those images were originally hosted. So does VeVe use IPFS for its digital collectible images?
No, we don't. We use secure server. The reason being is because there's a lot of files. As you know, the 3D element and the reading the comic book experience, we have to upload that. The actual, the copyright and the license still owns the actual comic book, so it's not like our users can republish them and resell them in another platform as their own work. So we, for us, it's more respecting that the people behind it, the writers, the artists, and the brain owners in that. So in short, we put it in another secure location, but obviously the metadata and the actual metadata of that collectible that you own, it does sit on Immutable X.
Okay, so as a follow-up to that, when you were on the Queen's Court with Queen VeVe, she had asked you about, in a scenario that's highly unlikely, right, that VeVe follows the same path as Recur, that something happens to VeVe unexpectedly, and she had said, will we be able to transfer our NFTs to a non-custodial wallet? And you had answered and said,
yes,
for the artists, yes, but then so I guess to further that question, will we be able to do that with some of the major IP like Marvel?
Yes. So in short, yes, we do have plans in place with our contracts. But just keep in mind, with the artists, it's much easier because they understand how we're going to be transferring them out. With the IP owner, they have the rights to basically. Maybe I should clarify. They may set up an external server. They have an option to ensure that that license and that brand and that collectible lives on. They have the rights to ensure that they can set up a server to do it before it just goes out to everyone. We're giving them the option to do so first in the contract, where it would be very hard for an independent artist to set up a brand new site, a server to host these, so on, and security element behind it. But in the very short to the answer is that yes, you will. We do have plans to release them in the event of something does happen, and I do believe that's with every company. It won't be just with us or Recur. It will be with any other IP related. That is always the first thing they think about. What in the event is your company doesn't exist anymore? What happened to these collectibles?
Awesome, thank you. I love that answer. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, we just a lot of our IP owner, and I won't name any of them because we're under NDA. Is a lot of them have the rights to host these or take over certain parts of our business to do certain things, or us release certain codes for them to have certain access to continue that brand value. You have to keep in mind, brand owners are more particular about protecting brand ownership, ensuring that that experience that doesn't get fudded really. Their IP is their bread and butter, and some of these companies have taken them combined hundreds of years of creation of hours to put something. It's not just going to goes to nowhere because one business took their IP and destroyed it.
Awesome. So I know that I don't know how much time you have. We had scheduled you for an hour, and I'm going to be very cautious and careful about and respectful of your time. I wanted to know, if you have any more time or if we should end it here.
I'm happy to. Yeah, I mean, I know our fans love to get get dig into it. So I mean, I think we may be nearly through. So yeah, I'll carry on until the questions are all answered out.
Great. Ren, do you have a question? I got some more, but
I know, right? Well, you mentioned in your recent interview on around the ComicVerse that China has stricter rules around users buying and selling on the secondary market and how users are allowed to trade. I'm not that familiar with China's rules at all myself. Will VeVe have to construct a separate market for users in China, or does VeVe have a plan on how to integrate VeVe's current marketplace with just stricter laws so that it integrates with China's laws?
Yeah, so obviously my comment went out as my finding when I was in China to understand the landscape and how the industry operate. And you know, for us, as we always look for companies who have issued them collectibles or NFTs or NFR. The fact that how they even name the products is very, very different in the Western world. It's not really what NFR, because when you translate Chinese NFT, it's actually just meaning NFR means you get the rights to use the collectibles. So they call non-fungible rights to use them digitally. So I started learning all these new terms and how they think. And one of the major part, which I did talk on the last interview, was that the regulators don't like speculation. And this is one of the major part in this industry, is that there will always people being hurt when their speculation goes up too high. In regards to VeVe, how we take approaches, we basically currently as the bystander, we are trying to learn and try to figure out how we get more users in that region. Unfortunately, and I'm learning from our competitor as well. I do constantly talk to our other peers, our competitors, to see what they're doing and give them feedback. And when they trial something in that region, they give me their feedback, vice versa. Just to get this right, we are going to be right now. VeVe is actually available in China with no problem. All right, but the problem is a lot of the apps there, the phones physically doesn't have Google. For example, Huawei as an operator, under the last administration, I think Google had to exit. Therefore, the phones can't download the app. So there's just all these things that when people go, well, it's not available, it's because it's not available in that phone unit. But VeVe is available through the web. Our web app is available widely to be used. If not, they could use VPN. The biggest issue for us and the challenge has been few fundamental like KYC, as you know. So for us to machine learn better and to work with our existing partners, we want to make sure that the KYC and data are collect correctly. As a company, we have in-house rules that we don't make exceptions, so everyone needs to be KYC when they start trading. We want to ensure that these data things that we're getting are all correct. So that's why we're not heavily advertised in certain region, because we don't feel we can scale at the moment. Plus, for VeVe to run in the Asia region, we do need a new team that speak domestic language to bridge that, to market it. The marketing in Asia is completely different than how we do it in the Western world. It's not just simply we could do some social media or some YouTube video. And in fact, YouTube doesn't even run in China. Many of you probably don't even know that. And if you do, they use other media and outlets. I think we have started practicing a little bit in TikTok. I mean, you're seeing a lot of our short video that we have put content. and we'll look at how we translate that in the same context, but with a Chinese audience, a Chinese user to their audience, to bridge through that in within the China market. So it's not just the app itself or the platform, it's about the marketing, the support, the carry on, the payment provider, the cloud servicing. The rule in China, and this is very transparent, is that the data collection needs to be kept and withheld in China server. So that's why we have brought on new partners who will help us eventually host and collect these data in certain regions and keep them safe. So there's a lot of moving part. It's not just about is VeVe available there. We are available there. People who has app they can redeem. We do have problem for them to transact in gems. They have some parts of it because the credit card maybe we don't accept, or the limit is not set to receive foreign currencies and so on. So we're looking at all this elements.
Cool. So that when you talked about the recent partnership giving you access to that, is that what the recent partnership with Alibaba or Alipay was?
Yeah, well, the cloud division is only a part of the gateway. Now,
Okay.
so the cloud business is similar to what we do with AWS is servicing. You can imagine when you and most time now with a good internet connection or 5G, I can bring out a VeVe collectible in AR pretty fast now. But ensuring that we are covering the entire China, we do need further infrastructure and further support to bring that out. What we don't want is users take about 40 seconds to bring out a collectible, where it really should be 5 to 10 seconds. So these are the things that we want to make sure that the user experience is going to be enhanced. And that's why we partner with these companies. And furthermore, we do partner, we're looking to integrate payment methods. You just have to keep in mind that in the greater China market, that Alipay, WeChat Pay, there's a lot of other payment wallet needs to be integrated because that's how they choose and that's how they pay day to day. It is just very different than what we do. Even down here in New Zealand, our payment methods are very different than the States.
A few years ago did some research on central bank digital currencies and was looking at China's and what they were trying to roll out there. And that's when I came across Alipay and WeChat, basically how China's turned into a mostly cashless society. So when I heard about this memorandum of understanding with Ali Cloud, and I was like, oh, they got their foot in the door. And, if they can make those relationships with Alipay, that's definitely going to open a lot of doors there in the China market. So I was really excited to and congratulations on that. So I had real quick, just to make sure though, with those regulations about not being able to like sell your collectible for, 1 to 2 months or something like that, there won't be like a separate marketplace for users in China and the rest of the world, correct? Is there a way to like integrate? Okay.
Yeah. We're already busy as it is. We don't have intention to plan to build a brand new app for that region at the moment until that region law regulation is more clarified as well. The holding known trading for 30-day or 60-day is actually a self-practice of other platform in China have imposed, and that's based on articles or regulator giving them opinions how to slow this whole thing down, to reduce the inflammatory pricing of it more than anything else. So my comments mainly based on things that I found that's interesting in that market. It's definitely not VeVe's going to do this to bypass or to make this work. VeVe as a company will make our own judgments and everything, and we'll put together a robust roadmap. And we as a company just want to make sure that everything we do now is a bit more above board. We don't want to be diving in and build a brand new thing and find out 3 weeks later after launch that we have done it completely wrong. So our business approach has been on the sideline learning. Once we take learning, we build partnerships in those regions with the best providers who can give us resource, talents to execute that business. Because you do have to keep in mind, we are like anyone else out there. Is we want a piece of that, the 1.4 billion people market. We VeVe wants that. I mean, who doesn't?
Absolutely. So I had a question just about, we know that a lot of other platforms, they're already rewarding their collectors. And this was covered a little bit for the VeVe fam who hasn't listened to that interview with Dan Crothers. They do cover this a little bit. But my question is in tandem with that, just around MCP points, right? And I mean, we see McFarlane Toys, they've already implemented kind of like the top 100 wallets, or and they get access to the drops beforehand. So I guess the first question is like, I know that VeVe is working on implementing the MCP and the OUP in tandem, right? This loyalty program. But is there anything until that's released that VeVe is trying to work on as kind of like a bridge, to bridge that gap until that loyalty program is completely rolled out, to give some utility to people who've been stacking MCP points for quite some time?
Yeah. So now, in short, is quite unfortunately, when we built VeVe in 2017, when we started the roadmap, the program was run this way, and now we're trying to bring it all in, and it's a lot more challenging than we initially thought. Obviously, even rolling out the MCP point, it took a while for us to correct the mistakes that we made, and we still got legacy issue. And no doubt about, I do apologize that some of the earlier fans who got their MC point calculated incorrectly, where some of them we were not able to fix because we didn't pick up these mistakes later on. But moving forward, it's about ensuring that the price, the redemption, and the MCP and the OUP, like you mentioned about, is that are we going to bring out the prototype or a new line of collectible that these points can redeem? We also have brought out that the ticket redemption, give you early access, or it gives you a better I think mainly the better access or a guaranteed spot on certain high release or highly anticipated release. So these are the things that these tickets will be bringing out. I do want to make sure that the company is building robust product rather than just building bridges to fix little things, because it does take the product manager, the engineer, and Mitch's team away, focusing on the big things.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, it's probably something that the fans don't want to hear, but we're doing the right thing.
No, I appreciate that, and I think sometimes I understand that sometimes there are things, these hiccups that come out, and VeVe is definitely working on fixing that. And in the interview, Dan talks about rebuilding kind of the queue system, or the waitlist system, and all of that had to happen behind the scenes. I think the VeVe fan would just love that touch base of, hey, I know that we've talked about OUP and it's still coming. Here's some of the hiccups there, right? Even if it's in tweet or at least like that. And so, and these AMAs also help. So I really appreciate that, where we get the chance to kind of get an update on that. So even though sometimes it may not be what we want to hear, I think that we just really appreciate that communication.
Yeah, definitely it's on our mandate. We do see these priority things. Yeah, just very unfortunate that the legacy system that we had, we had to do a lot of updates.
Yeah, it is exciting for me to see the evolution that's happened since really I didn't discover the app till March. I was shocked when actually you had released much earlier in October of 2020 and I hadn't heard anything about it. But since I really came in March, where it is today, and the amount of work on having to change it, because I realize how sometimes early apps get built and it's just, we talked the other day on around the ComicVerse and you talked about if they made a documentary about Ecomi, it would be called Zero Chance or No Chance, because making it through that first bear market for projects, most people don't realize how hard that is. And you came out with an app. When I first saw the app, I was blown away. I was like, what is this app? And I haven't even heard of it. And it's got Batman black and white, and it's got the first Batman on the blockchain. This is amazing. So it was a pretty good app, but sometimes it's built by contractors, and then you have to make it more robust so it can do a lot of things. And so the amount of changes, like the current queue system is really cool. A lot of the upgrades to it are cool. I'm very happy with the pace of development. I think you are too, Doctor of Stuff, that feels like the tech team now is firing on all cylinders and we're seeing updates. Of course, a lot of the community will say, they don't happen fast enough. There's that feeling.
Over the last couple of years there, we learn a lot internally that the mistakes that we made. Number one is the app never from day one had that intention of that payout. And when we integrated the payout, our provider decided that it was not viable for them to continue to be in business. Then we have to find a new partner to do that. Blockchain, how we had to switch to a more faster, robust, environment friendly. There's a lot of areas where the app went from a conceptual idea, and people had no idea how hard it is from 2017 to 2020, even in August up to that date. That story one day will be told. And then when we switch on the app, it was good, then it will crash. Going through that every day, you get up, it's like 300 messages, people complaining, people not happy, this is not going right, the drop is selling out, the bots are coming in. All we wanted to do was sell some Batman. From day one, we never thought we had to be AML experts. We have to know how to do KYC. There was just so much, platform like Apple, Google, start watching what we do, have a list of questions, if certain things are circumvent their terms of condition, they can easily close our business off. There's just so much, even today, every single day as you go on, there's just new things we are discovering. This is not a business where I'm just manufacturing one thing and I'm constantly just making that over and over like a tab. This is basically, from the skill I have learned in VeVe, I would like to say I could pretty much run. It's almost like running 5 or 6 different type of business all at once. And you have technology, you have the blockchain, you have the apps, you have the IP. I mean, managing IP on its own, it's quite stressful as well, because we only have so many slots and there's just so many brains. And our audience, the community, is almost like, my favorite part of business is really the most fun parts, talking to you guys, getting into our audience, being at ComicCon, understanding forefront what what they love, what they hate about us, and what we need to do to change. Sometimes we take these feedback in, but it doesn't take 1 or 2 days to implement these feedback. We need to think through it thoroughly. I think last interview, I did say that they did ask me if I was to do it again, will I do it? I mean, if I knew what I had to learn through now, I mean, I will have to think twice. It's a lot harder than most people think. You end up with a lot of sleepless nights going through, because there's just so many things happening.
I used to work for a company called Accenture, which operates globally as a business consultant and often does major software and often does it for many other companies. So I had to think about software development lifecycle. So I understand the complexities and the difficulties you guys are often dealing with. And I think sometimes people, as a fan, without that kind of background, people are like, oh, why isn't this happening sooner? Because they don't realize all the missing pieces. Now, I can say I was frustrated about 14 months ago that I was like, oh my gosh, I don't think the tech team is right for the challenges ahead of it. And I think VeVe had made a priority to hire more devs around that time, and it takes a while to onboard them. So once Mitch really had some experience and was up and running and managing the team, then I saw everything come into line. And at that point, I was like, I'm really happy now with the pace. For a while, I was like getting concerned a little over a year ago. But once Mitch was up and running in the team, I was like, yes, this is like firing on all cylinders. And since then, we've actually seen pretty steady rollouts. Never as fast as everyone wants, but never as fast as I'd imagine you guys want too, because this stuff is complex.
Yeah, we have a lot of structure now in place and a lot of segmented team. I mean, you ask anyone in VeVe, they used to do 5 or 10 different things. We extremely agile company. One of the things to work for VeVe is that it is one of the most high performance company. You pretty much have to be very self-disciplined. You have to pick up things and just see where the problem is and go and fix it. The most challenging thing back then is the scale. You're right. We were not anticipating to be scale to the size that we did. And just keep in mind that there is a lot of other things that VeVe is actually building that we haven't announced. And when it comes out, when it's available, you're gonna go, that makes sense. They're building this, they're doing that. We've gone away from, and the word I always don't like to use is we don't want to overpromise. We want to underpromise and overdeliver. These are some of the approach that we implement into the business. We keep everything very tight-lipped. I do slip every now and then on what's coming out because I'm excited as a collector. I want to share that happiness that when something's about to come out, you get excited. And that's why I get up to go to work, because I'm passionate about what we're building, the product. But in the same time, I understand how important the community is. We're here to serve you guys. But the last interview, I think I talked a little bit about the VeVeVerse that people start flooding. And seriously, I have no idea. I was just repeating what was say 18 months earlier or whenever I mentioned it, that number one is I'm not in charge of the VeVeVerse. I'm not entitled to know a lot, but far as I understand, what we're doing in phase 1 is this, and we'll continue to do it. Now, hopefully, at 10 p.m. when the new video comes out in the interview and some beta version of the video, the audience will understand what it is about. And just to make it clear, I only saw that video that's about to air yesterday. So I'm as new as you guys. So sometimes when I get put in the spotlight, if I don't answer anything perfectly the way you want it, it's not because I'm trying to lie through my teeth. I actually just don't know it. But far as I know, I'll tell you how it is. We're a very transparent company. You guys are very important to us, and that's why we're building this every day for you guys to enjoy and have fun. There's no a single day we don't want you to have fun with VeVe, and that's why we're building it.
I was excited by your answer about the VeVeVerse. There was actually a bunch of people peppered me with questions after that. And I was excited because when I first heard about the VeVeVerse, I was way more skeptical than everyone else seemed to be, because I had seen the two major metaverse out there not do well. I mean, they did raise a ton of money, but nobody uses them. And so I was excited with your answer in that a lot of the direction at the very first part is to be able to make an expansion of the vaults, which has been a massive success of VeVe, and the amount of vault usage and the ease of sharing it through social media, I think, is what brings the metaverse to high usage. So for me, I was super excited with that direction, because that's the direction that gets people actually using some metaverse, rather than creating a huge metaverse out there that nobody uses, which to me is what happened with Sandbox and Decentraland. Great product, very low usage. And I was hoping that wouldn't happen with the VeVeVerse, with the direction that seems like it's going. I can't wait to hear more. But yeah. I'm excited with people being able to share it with their socials and be able to share an expanded vault with their friends, because I can see that getting so much usage.
And one caveat on that is that I do speak to people and brands who have representation in Sandbox. I do speak to them. I speak to brands, and a lot of a lot of the brand owners or celebrity have Sandbox spaces. I do speak to them, and I try to find out what are the obstacles, what don't you like about it, and why are you not engaging enough. You have to keep in mind that we have two types of customers. Our number one customers, our fans, the collectors. And then customer number two is the brand owners. If the brand owners go, you show them something like a fireworks that's 30 seconds and nothing else happened, they're going to lose traction, and they're going to lose belief. And just going to go back, when we first talked about what VeVe's about, it's about that collector and how connecting the community, making that user-generated content, making those videos, and have fun with it. If we just keep focusing on that and able to connect everyone through videos, messaging, we together we're going to build a very strong community and ecosystem, and that's our mission. The mission is definitely not there when you jump onto VeVeVerse. Your friends are not there. And then you lose interest, and you don't want to come back to it. And we need to learn from other people's mistake and try to fix that. The other section in VeVeVerse, I probably I think the video that Dan's going to be giving out is going to be much better representation, because it is his baby. He knows it in and out, and I shouldn't be taking anything and speak for what's in it. And it will take a while as well for the build up of it. From day one, we don't expect everyone who's going to have the computer power to solve that issue, and it will take time for us to implement things so streaming can come in a bit more effectively. I just want to set expectation that I don't want to paint everything to the ceiling, and then you guys go, well, it's not living up to that height. So that's from me.
Yeah, makes perfect sense.
I just love the passion, David, and it's funny seeing some of the comments there, like, and even the team talks about just like your excitement, and like they're just like, we can't tell David because he might slip, because he just wants to share this passion with everyone. And that's one of the things that really hooked me on VeVe and the trajectory of where it could go is someone who is so experienced in this space that's so passionate about it, right, and has been successful. I do want to be respectful of your time. We have just a few more questions, so I'm going to jump into one that people have asked for quite some time. There's always been discussions about people saying, I keep getting comments on the drops, and then I see people who get multiple secret rares. So there's a question around the algorithm that distributes the rarity of collectibles and the true randomness of it. Has that algorithm ever been audited, or just to prove that it is truly like a random distribution and it's not weighted towards certain activities that people may be doing?
Yeah. Just to make it clear, even when I do go on a drop, like any other users, it is randomly selected. It's not selected because you're a new user. We want to get you hooked into VeVe, or secretly we want to give you 2 secret rares. Not at all. And at the early days, we did see a lot of the users flexing to go, I got 5 secret rares. We did check their account. They got their 5 because they maybe landed 1. They bought 4 more aftermarket. We do check all these accounts. In regards to the auditing, I'm not 100% sure, but we do regularly get our software security do check and audited. So, but rest assured, it's not because your account start with number 1 or A, you're going to get all the secret rare, or start with S. It's got nothing to do with it. Please do not be that silly.
I appreciate that. Answer.
It is a question frequently asked, so it was great to address that. And that's so interesting. It's good to know that you guys have double checked some of those accounts and they were just stretching the truth.
Yeah.
We'll just call it stretching the truth.
Yeah. And I guess if you're in the digital world, that's how you flex, right? You want to go, well, I got 5 secret rare Lamborghini. So
that's true. You'll get all kinds of attention, right? It is a great way to get attention.
Yeah.
Well, so here's another one that people have asked before, just on Twitter, that I've seen that I thought was I would love to see it on VeVe. But has VeVe ever considered doing like a 10,000 or a 5,000 or whatever amount, right, generative NFT drop with IP, right? So you could have, for example, another Superman, but the Superman's suit is a different color, or the cape is a different color, right? And like you can get all of these crazy variations, and so the rarity could just be out of this world potentially.
Yeah. The honest truth is, anything you can think of, we have thought about it. Anything and everything. I mean, I sleep, I eat, drink. When I have shower, I think about how we can make this more fun, more appealing, the way we drop everything. So yes, and that's why this Funko thing came out. With fidgetals, everything. And I'm never going to say, no, we're not going to do one of these 10,000. We just need to find the right software, timing, technology, and the market needs to be ready for as well. I mean, we definitely not in the bull run that we were 18 months ago. Perhaps if something did come back, we'll come out with something quite unique.
Just know that I know a lot of people would love to see that. I think that, seeing something like that would be fun. And there's some people, ideas in there about different, well, anyways, I appreciate that answer. I'm cognizant of the time.
Quick question about the Thanos drop. VeVe minted 20K soul stones. Is there a chance we may use those for another gauntlet, or why is there so many of the soul stones minted compared to the rest of the numbers?
Yeah, I might have to look into that. And no, I don't believe there's any other things that we're using. So it's very likely we will look at burning them. We'll probably advise the team to look into that.
Okay. Well, speaking of burning, and this was a question that was asked a while ago. But VeVe dropped Voltron back in February of this year, and I'm a huge Voltron. I grew up with Voltron. I was really excited to see that drop. I have the set. But if you go in the store, it shows that the collectibles are sold out. Like you can't purchase them, but there's still some remaining. So is that because they're going to be burned, or is that something with just like the code? It needs to be unlocked again, or do you have any information on what's happening there?
I did notice that myself as well, so I'll be bringing up with the tech team. It shouldn't be there. So I'll look into that. And it wasn't actually a control release. I think the only control release to date we have done was the Monster Hunter, where we did say there's a window of 7 days. And after that, basically everything just comes off the market. Okay.
Well, I've got 2 last questions. Randy, do you have one before I kind of finish up?
No, go ahead.
Okay. So I just have to give a shout out to Randy. I know that Randy does a lot of YouTube streams and things, and he asked me to ask you this question. When you came on his stream, you had the name Mick D, and he was really interested to know if there was any meaning behind that. McDonald's partnership, is that what it?
I mean, we're under NDA with many companies. Maybe I was talking to Ron and we're talking about McSize me or something.
Okay, all right. So McDonald's partnership confirmed. That's what I'm hearing. Okay, so I would love to know, just to kind of end this, and before I do, there's been 2 things. People have been, in the stream talking about like Omi, and they're really expecting to talk about Omi, and you're the CEO of Ecomi, and Rain and I had made a decision early on. I mean, we talked about this around the ComicVerse, like the regulatory landscape right now. It can be quite perilous to talk about the token. And I know that there are some Web3 companies that are doing that and talking about the token, and there may be ramifications for that. So I want to leave this very broad, but is there anything, can you just at least give these people hope that, obviously VeVe has not forgotten about the Omi token?
No, no, that's not true. Maybe we don't talk about it so much. Doesn't mean we don't want to talk about it. We both myself and Dan, we just want to be a little bit more mindful. Whatever we put out is going to be accurate. We do have plans. We're brainstorming. We want to make sure that when we come out with the next thing, it's going to be very, very solid. And we will have an announcement, and we are restructuring the business a lot more. And you'll see new faces and new voice in Ecomi. And furthermore, I want to make sure that the Master Collectors Program and the OUP get amalgamated, and that's where we start pushing out. I think it's you will find our company, VeVe or Ecomi, is one of those companies where we very low key. We don't go out and shield our project or what we have. When we put our voice out, we really ready to go out. We want to be, when we advertise a drop coming out, you see splashes everywhere. We now have our advertising team in social. You will see banner clicks, videos, that you'll get a newsletter, the whole thing. And that's how we wanted to come out with it. It's just a matter of time. And just be patient with us. We work through every avenue, every possible way to make sure everything's moving forward, step at a time.
Awesome. I appreciate that. I just wanted the community to know. Obviously, Rain and I are large Omi bag holders. We're just as curious as everyone else, right? But again, like really understanding the space, and as investors ourselves in a lot of different crypto projects, we understand a regulatory dynamic. But I just appreciate you commenting on that. And obviously, the whole community would love to hear more about Omi, even if it's just like, hey, we're building behind the scenes. But okay, so to end it,
So every week I do spend a full day. I would like to think I spend a whole day talking to VCs, talking to other blockchain projects, talking to other token founders, finding out the insights. So there's actually a lot of energy I put in. I spend a whole Saturday afternoon talking to one of the VC or fund that holds a lot of OMI, their intention, what they think, how they think we should do. There's a lot of strategies behind it. It's not really what we don't really want to do is put a band-aid over a big wound. We want to see how we can fix things and heal these areas. So part of my day-to-day job, I do spend a lot of time trying to get information, and then the leadership and the staff work I do is I like to take it in and I digest it. I think about it, and then I go back with questions with these mentors that's helping us out, and to get suggestion. And every company out there all wanted to be the best and the greatest. We no doubt we want to be the same. They are goals in our heart and our mind where we want to be, and where we're currently sitting at is nowhere near where we want to be at. You guys are, whatever bag you're holding in, I'm holding in a much bigger bag than you are. The pressure on my shoulder is much bigger. So, I just want you guys to know nothing, every detail, every parts of our business get combed through it regularly.
Awesome. Well, thank you for actually diving deeper than I expected you to with that question. And obviously, you can tell by the comments in the chat, people are really excited to know that obviously the OMI token is still a focus for the team. To round it out, I would love to hear what are 3 goals that you would like to see VeVe accomplish by the end of 2024.
Yeah, I mean, we Q4 for this month, we are holding a executive camp, basically catch up in New Zealand, where the top tier of the executive of the company gets together and really plan out for 2024. This year has been focused a lot on the growth, and we're talking about more growth internally and our product line. For 2024, by end of Q4, I really like to see, number one is our forward thinking in 2024, the deadlines that we must meet. That's probably one of them. Number 2 is more IP coming on board. We talked about early on these verticals. We would definitely like to announce more IP coming on, and who will that be? We're yet to see that. I guess number 3, what else would I like to see? So we got the team, our staff. Number 2 is the IP. Number 3 goal is really to make sure that the community, what we are turning into a very community-based business. We really would love to see our community to continue to support us, and you guys giving us the chance to build where we are today. We want to continue to be in the forefront. Whatever you tell us through social, tag me or whatever you had done, I do listen, I do read, but it will never just happen overnight where you go, I think this is a great idea, Dave, and then the whole app tomorrow you turn it on, it just go, let's update to your version of the app. It's not going to happen that way. We hear you, that the community has been the forefront of our business. So with end of this year, we want to continue to see that community love the content that you guys put out for us, the vocal voice you echo for us, and being our champion. We want to hope to have you guys continue to cheer for us on that. And these are the 3 goal. I mean, 2024 is really coming towards an end. We got pretty much 8 weeks to go. So the teams are here, restless, try to finish that goal line. But just so everyone understand that goal line is never a line. It just goes out every year. It gets further and further because we, as a company, in any high performance business, that finish line is never going to be there. It might be in front of you, but it just basically you'll never touch it because we are continue to be building, continue to be innovating. So that's where I leave you guys with what we're doing.
Thank you so much, David. And I mean, VeVe Magic had just talked about kind of echoing your comments, like you care so much about the community and the fact that you come on these AMAs. Rain obviously has a very substantial YouTube channel and following. I have a very small one. And for you to take the time, the CEO of such a very successful company, to come on the channel and do this interview and answer these community questions really reflects, I think, your dedication to the community, and the community thanks you for that. So, and also would love to just thank everyone who joined in this AMA today, and for your questions, and for being patient as we worked through a lot of questions, and for David's time, well over that hour. Thank you very much for that.
Yeah, and just thanks again. It's no matter how big of an audience you are, one of the really important thing about myself and Dan is that we always think back where we came from. VeVe was we had 0 user. 1 download was then followed by me 2 downloads and 3 and 4. For our fans and our YouTubers out there, it's because of you guys, and the reward really goes back to the community. We live together in this family, this ecosystem. We only have one goal, one mandate, is to grow that. So thank you for having me on. There's definitely no show, no podcast that's too small, because all we need is to reach that one more soul out there, one more collector, one more connection, for us to make this worthwhile.
Thank you so much. Any parting words, Rain?
David, thank you for joining us. I've been following the evolution of Ecomi since 2018, and it's fun to see your idea of digital collectibles come together. And the VeVe app, when I first saw it, I was like, this is amazing, and you've continued to improve that. I'm excited to see how the VeVeVerse unveils. So everyone watch that video tonight. I mean, it's actually going to be released here in a couple hours. You can see what's going on with the VeVeVerse. I will be looking forward to that. And a lot of times when I'm interested in projects, I'm interested in the people behind it. And what I've loved from you is your passion behind collectibles and your own background, in that you love this stuff. And that's one of the things that's, I think, not just myself, but a lot of the community sees and feels, and why we get excited about it. Because like there's a collector at heart running the company behind this. So you continue to make decisions that are important to collectors. And so I love that stuff. Thanks for your time.
Yeah.
Thanks guys.
Thanks, everyone.